All right, so welcome to today's episode of In the Trenches. I have my good friend Josh Smith, VP of Marketing with Scorpion. Josh, welcome to the show.
Great to be back, Dan. That background looks very enticing right now.
Yeah, I am enjoying some time in beautiful Breckenridge, Colorado, so I can't
Yeah.
complain. And just enjoying some nice weather. But I'm excited about today's show. We're really going to talk a lot about reputation management. And we're
Mhm.
talking specifically to the home service business owner out there who is paying for marketing and maybe not getting the ROI that they want to get. And Josh is going to explain how reputation management not only plays a role in
Yeah.
your branding and your ROI for your marketing, but also what are some do's and don'ts that we should be doing as business owners when it comes to, replying to reviews and so on and so forth. So Josh, without any further ado, I'm gonna let you go ahead and just take it from there.
Yeah, man. There's a lot to it. There's a lot to it and a lot of impacts that it has, and often we overlook, I think, the impacts that a positive reputation can ultimately have on the business and the bottom line. We were chatting a little bit before the show just about the impact that it has kind of from a long-term perspective. Like this is something that's not you're not necessarily going to see the results right away. It's not like, hey, let's turn on some direct lead driving channel and then we get leads in that potentially generate business. This is an investment in the overall brand. And this is something that I think a lot of business owners can really dive into and really think and marinate on more is this difference between kind of a short-term mindset versus a long-term mindset. One of the things I love to focus on when I'm speaking with business owners, and I know you do too, Dan, is really how do you build a sustainable brand that's going to live past you, right? This legacy that you're building that's going to transcend when you're gone. And reputation is a big, big part of that. Now, a lot of business owners that we've worked with, they're probably getting started in some cases online. Maybe they've had a website for a while. They haven't really taken the online thing seriously because their word of mouth has been so instrumental in their business. And so one of the big challenges that business owners face is how do I take that word of mouth that's drummed up all this business? I got people talking about me. And how do I take that and put it online? Or where do I put it online? There's no question. Reputation has become kind of a keystone conversion point and a conversion metric that many businesses, whether they're in service or e-commerce, they look at. Amazon kind of piloted this, right? You probably don't buy anything on Amazon without first looking at the reviews. If it's got a 2-star review and there's 2,000 reviews on it, you're probably going to look a little bit elsewhere. So it's had this impact on us almost to the point where 9 out of every 10 people, before they make a purchase decision, they're looking at reviews. They're seeing what the reputation is. So this is something that business owners definitely want to take seriously, especially when it comes to online where you don't have that in-person interaction because people are going to trust what other people are saying about your business almost as much as they would a personal referral from a friend. It's kind of this interesting dynamic
Mm-hmm.
we've seen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, touching on that, I read a stat this week in preparation for a technician training that I want to say it was like 77%, or the customer was 77% more likely to do business with you if they were referred by a family or friend. And the way I see it in 2020,
Mhm.
5-star reviews now take the place of family or friend to a certain extent. Yes, that still happens, but if we're not really focusing on getting those reviews in all areas online, then we're really missing out on that customer who comes with already having a certain amount of trust built with our company.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing about trust. I'm glad you brought up trust because that's really what reputation is. It's building trust with your consumer base. And trust is transferable when it comes to your consumer base. You have a recommendation for a great product, Dan, and you tell me, I trust you as a friend. I just trust
Hmm.
that your integrity is intact and you're looking out for my interests. And so I'm going to trust that product or that recommendation a lot more so now after you vouch for it than if I didn't have that vouching for it from you. So online we see the same thing and it's just a different dynamic at play. Now, while it may not be a direct connection that they have with a friend, what we've seen over time and time again, and the data has shown it, is that people trust positive reviews and positive interactions online. And we've seen this even in the data when it comes to how this impacts marketing. We've done a lot of studies at Scorpion about the impact between reputation and lead cost, right? Lead cost, big buzzword that we have in the marketing space, always searching for the lowest cost leads that we can that are going to turn into the highest dollar ticket, right? Get that price margin in there. And what we have found is that businesses online that have a 4.5 or better star rating, almost without fail, always show lower lead costs than those that have less than a 4-star rating. It's a really, really interesting data point. So reputation matters. And when you feed reputation, and think of reputation like this, it's not just collecting kind of positive things that people are saying and throwing them up there. This is, look at it more of a reflection thing now. This is a reflection of your brand. It's a reflection of the customer experience that you're providing your clients. And people are willing to be vocal about them online, and they're willing to voice their opinion, good or bad. Now, we'll get to bad in a minute, but good or bad, they're willing to voice their opinion of your brand online. And in those opinions and in that conversation, there lies a lot of information about how you can make the brand, the experience that your customers are having, which ultimately feeds into the positive brand experience, how to make it better, how to improve it, so that way you can get more of that, right? And when you get more of that, that's the long-term approach. You start snowballing that, you'll build up some momentum. For those who are familiar with John Maxwell, I know, Dan, you're a big John Maxwell fan. He's got in his 21 irrefutable laws of leadership, he has the law of momentum, right? And momentum is a very, very difficult thing to kind of stop when it comes to a team or organization, just building up that positive snowball effect, especially when it comes to reputation.
Yeah, that's so true. And you know, going back to giving that technician training this week, I was talking about securing your future through client retention. And when it comes to 5-star reviews online, as even from the technician level, just going through the buying process, I mean, the customer sees a review online, that rapport starts to be built with the company. And just imagine if you're a technician who's getting a lot of 5-star reviews with your name on it. And maybe there was 10 reviews last week, and every review had Dan on there. That new customer is going to be calling, asking for this Dan guy because I took the time to get the review. So if technicians are watching, the secret to getting great reviews is making it personal. It's no longer about the business. It's more about, if you're happy with the work that I provided, can you reciprocate by giving me and my family a review, because it means a lot to me, because my boss sees it, right, and says something, and at least knows that I'm doing a good job. So that's always a good point. But Josh, I want to jump in a little bit so I'm a business owner, I'm watching this, I'm like, you know what, these guys have a pretty good point. Maybe I should start go ahead and getting reviews. And so if I'm that person and I'm starting to get reviews, how should I respond to them, or should I respond to them, I guess is the question.
First question is, yes, you should 100% respond to reviews. There's zero question. There's no question you should respond to reviews. So that's the first thing. Good or bad, that's the other piece that you want to kind of just make sure you're clear on. Because your interactions are not just for the people who you're responding to the reviews for. I think oftentimes we get pigeonholed. It's like, I got to solve this upset client who's leaving a review. Forget the upset client for a minute. You want to solve that as best you can. You want to fix whatever problem they're having, to be sure. But think of this. Think of everybody else watching. If you're up on stage and you had to solve that problem with that client, and you were in front of an audience who was watching that interaction, what would their perception be of how you handled that? It was interesting. I had we just got our backyard landscape. So we had a landscaper out, and they did all the design work. They were doing the concrete pours and everything. And it was kind of a blank slate. And we went with them because we felt really good about the experience we had with the salesperson. Lo and behold, the salesperson didn't communicate fully with the business partner who was doing a lot of the stuff. We had a gas line to put a fire pit in, and we're supposed to wrap the gas line around too for a future fireplace and barbecue. And they didn't do it, but they poured the concrete. So the business owner came in, the one who was running the actual project, and he said, you know what, Josh, I just got to tell you, unfortunately, this happened. This wasn't communicated. I can't sleep at night knowing that that didn't happen. And that was something that you guys had talked about, even if it's not in the contract. So I want to do right by you. I want to fix it. I just want to let you know. I know it's just going to put us back a couple of days. And for me, as a consumer, how he handled the problem was I would refer these people to anybody, because he had a problem and he handled it. He didn't just let it sit. He's like, I could have totally just said, oh yeah, it's under the concrete, and then let the next guy come and figure out that it's not, right? Mm-hmm. But for him, he had so much integrity that it was so important that he fixed the problem, and how he went about fixing the problem showcased to me that he's somebody worthy of even though there was a problem, it wasn't a perfect job, there was a problem, but how he handled it showed me he was worthy of my referral. And I would give anybody, I would recommend them to anybody because of that. Now, when it comes to online, think of it in the same perspective. You have an audience, people are watching how you're interacting, and you have a bad review that's online, you want to respond to it, and you want to respond to it in a way. My biggest recommendation is you stay out of the semantics, stay out of the specifics of the situation. That's something you talk with the client on the phone about. But you want to respond in a way that is showing charity towards the situation, especially if it's somebody who is like actually a client. I know there's a whole host of situations where, hey, this wasn't my client, right? Mm-hmm. But show charity towards the situation, charity towards the person, and ultimately really just try and get them to contact you and get back in the office, because you are so focused and determined to solve the upset. That's the primary communication you always want to make sure that you're attacking these things with, because that says a lot to the business owner versus somebody who comes to a reputation like a Google Plus page or a GMB, and they see a whole host of reviews that are not responded to and they're negative, right? Totally different impression.
Yeah, and it really goes back to just taking ownership, right? I mean, if no matter what the situation, if we take ownership and resolve it, that's always the best way to go. And so, really in a nutshell, we're talking about getting the best ROI in marketing, and pretty much every time we talk, we're talking about content marketing, all kinds of different things. And a lot of times, like I said, we're looking at the result today, and we're not thinking long term. So I want to challenge everybody out there to be thinking long term. Today is the day to start asking for reviews and getting reviews. And if you weren't responding or weren't responding properly, start responding properly today. I mean, it's really all about that, just moving forward, because in 6 months to a year, you're going to start to see that return on investment. So before we go, Josh, is there anywhere specific that people out there watching should be really focused on getting reviews? Any kind of specific platforms online?
Yeah, it's a great question. There's a few that I definitely recommend in order of priority. You definitely want them on your website. People are trafficking to your website. They want to see them. And what's great about that is you can curate the review, the reputation there. You want to make sure they're on your GMB. Massively important. Get them on your GMB. That's your Google My Business profile. That's Google's direct profile. A lot of the advertising you're doing online is run through Google anyways. So make sure you have it on your GMB. Build that up. If you're in local service ads, get those local service ad reviews. On those jobs, make sure you get those reviews, because in the review section on local service ads, it flags them as a local service ad job, which breeds even more confidence to that platform, gets you high quality leads there. And that's also something that is a bit of a ranking factor for local service ads. And it also is something that helps with organic rankings and things like that, reputation, which feeds into people, their time being spent online. I know everybody hates it. But do your best to work with Yelp in getting Yelp reviews. They're challenging, to be sure. They have an insanely strict review filter. That's just the way that is. But they're plugged in with your Apple Maps. They're integrated with so many just kind of reputation platforms that it'd be silly to ignore that. So when somebody's running a search, like if you're on your iPhone and you're running a search for a business and you come up, it's pulling Yelp, right? So they have integrations with a lot of places. It's just too big not to ignore. So do your best. I know it's challenged though. And then Facebook doesn't really operate on reviews anymore, but they operate more on what they call recommendations. So if you get people recommending you and talking about you, tagging your business name on Facebook, that's a real positive powerhouse from a social perspective to make sure you have positive things being said.
Man, so much great information. Starting in the trenches in this Facebook Live series we're doing was really to give value to the home service business owner in a time that's so uncertain. So Josh, I really appreciate you coming on the show. Just in closing, where can people find more information for what Scorpion's posting? I know Scorpion's doing a really good job just serving the trade industry in general. So where can they find that information?
Yeah, you definitely want to go to the Scorpion website. A lot of information on there, scorpion.co. CO, not COM, but just CO. It's confusing, I know. That's going to be a great place to do it. Also, the Scorpion resource page, which is scorpion.co/home-services/resource-center. We have a lot of information, particularly in light of everything that's going on right now. And definitely check out the Sharpest Tool podcast. We bring on business owners and industry experts, people like yourself, Dan. I know you're very well acquainted with it. And we're running a series of summer panel webinars right now in tandem with the Sharpest Tool. So definitely check those out. Those are being posted on Scorpion's social media and LinkedIn and all over the place. Register for those webinars. We have like 4 or 5 business owners come on to talk about this type of stuff. So it's a lot of great opportunity to learn and take stuff back into the business.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Josh, and everybody out there listening. You can always reach me at builtforthetrades.com, or if you want to watch more of these episodes, we have them uploaded to the YouTube channel. But other than that, thanks again, Josh.
You bet, Dan.
And
thanks, everyone.
Have a great day.